Okay, welcome to session 12. And last week we sort of finished the lighting plan, electrical plan. There is this thing here that's got all of them on there. And this thing here also has some dimensions on there, which we were referring to last week when we were trying to work out where these lights go. In fact, I'm missing one, I think, on the one that I sort of finished off, this one here. So it'd be a good opportunity to start on. If it's not on there, let's have a look. Oh yeah, I'm missing that, so that's excellent opportunity. All right, so I'll begin with that, finalizing those little dimensions that are on that floor plan, and then we're going to just jump on here and finish this off as a concrete footing plan. It's not going to be called roof plan, obviously, we'll change it. All right, so what I did, I went through and put some dimensions in now. You might immediately notice that they're different to what you may have. Which is fine. You can stick to what you have. At the end of the day, it's not really important that you sort of stick exactly to that dimension. It's important that you put a dimension on there for your electrical person to know where to put the downlight. All right? Yes, good question. Right here. So I just got this one and this one. There's two of them. One's color, the one's black and white. But yeah, they're there. We use those dimensions more to place the lights. But then if you go back and think about it, if you need the dimensions to draw the light in, then how does the electrician know where to put the light if you don't tell the electrician where it goes? So now that the same thing could go for a lot of the other ones, but we won't put them on all of them. Some of these are sort of symmetrical, center of the room, and there is a bit, I think, on site as to like, oh yeah, it looks about there, sort of thing. It's pretty right, and they will try and get it symmetrical on site as well, obviously. But if there's something that's maybe asymmetrical, for example, this one here in the bathroom ensuite, it's not really. Well, I mean, it's closer to this side of the wall. It's not in the middle because it looks like the fan's in the middle. This one here is probably okay because it's going to be on top of the basin, symmetrical to that, and the basin I noticed is not there at this point. So there we must tell them where to put it away from the wall. But on the other way, we haven't dimensioned it because it's sort of central to that room. It looks about central, so you sort of got to weigh up what you're going to do with the dimensions. So this one here is probably these ones here, these downlights, they were dimensioned differently in the. If we have a look at this here, they were dimensioned a bit differently. They were dimensioned off this bench, but which is fine. But then you got to just also think at the time when they're putting the downlights in, is the bench going to be in there? Probably not, I would say, because that will come in after the kitchen. So why should you then give them a dimension of that, and then they have to wonder, is it a 600 bench or is it a 900 deep? Is it, what is it? Like normally they're 600. So what I decided to do is just modify it a bit. The other thing I did is I adjusted some of these dimensions so that they're the nearest 5 millimeters rather than like 93 millimeters. So I haven't ended up doing these. So I'm going to do a couple more with you, and I'll show you how that's being done. All right, there's another one here that for some reason we dimensioned that switch should be 100 millimeters from the wall. What I normally do if there's no dimensions, I mean most of the switches don't have any dimensions. Why did we dimension that one? Generally, I'll put a note and it'll be something like all switches shall be 100 millimeters from the corner, from the architrave, or something like that, a general note. But anyway, all good. We'll just, there's no real, as I said, don't get too hung up about it because there's no real rules around it as long as you've dimensioned it enough so people know how to place them. But this one here, there was a dimension for this, and so I'll just put it in. So the other thing that I've been told, that is different to these dimensions, and of course I didn't notice it before, is that these dimensions are all horizontal. So don't worry about that. Also, they've got arrowheads, which are very small. I think someone just must have used the default dimension style, and now we have one. Therefore, we can use the one we've got. Okay, so don't worry about that. Just stick to the one that we used all along. Okay, yeah. You changed them. That's fine. Don't worry if you changed them. That's all good as well. It just means it will come back as a resubmission. No, it won't. All right, so let's go here. Okay, can't knock back initiative. That's well done. Good. Now let's go with the annotations. I'm got to be in layer dimensions, which I am, and I'm just gonna put in this one here that I've missed. So linear dimension is what I want. Yeah, so I want to dimension it from the wall here, so somewhere here under the window, to the center of that. Oh, look at that. Oh, what am I doing? Sorry, my apologies. I'm doing it inside the viewport, therefore it's not showing up, and I'm glad it's not, because I would have just placed it there and I would have had dimensions half in the viewport and another half on the outside of the viewport. So best to be on the sheet, and we'll do it again.
Do we do this in the dimension sheet, or do we do it in something else?
Well, oh, sorry, it's in the on the electrical plan.
Oh, right, because I've done the dimensions internally in the electrical plan, but I actually put them on a switch, so that's the wrong place.
Oh, you put it on the layer called A switch, did you?
Yeah.
No, there's well, they would come out dashed as well, wouldn't they? No, you just put it on the dimensions layer.
No, just put them on the dimensions layer, but in the viewport itself, on top of the viewport.
On top of the viewport, yeah. So not inside the view, not inside the viewport.
Right.
Not in model space, in other words.
Not in model space.
But on the sheet, yeah. Easy. All right, so there, like that. So this is a perfect example, all right, of B963. So if I continue that, and I'll do the next one. Done. The next one is lovely. At 1925, we love it. There you go. That's a great number, but I don't really like the 963. So if you want to, it's just that I suppose sometimes they on site they'll look at that and say, what are they talking about? 963. I'm going to do it on 965. Anyway, at the end of the day, it's the nearest 5 millimeters. That's tolerancing. So what I'm going to do next is this. Now, I dimensioned on the paper, but I'm going to go into model now. Double click inside the viewport. All right, and I'm going to select these 4 lights, because if I can't just move one. If I move this one here up by 2 millimeters, then this number will change. So I'm going to move all 4 of them up by 2 millimeters. So I'm going to select all of this. All right. I don't know what it gives me all these dots. I haven't figured that out yet. But basically, I've only selected the lights as far as I can see. So then I'm going to hit the move command here. I'm going to click somewhere, and I'm going to move my cursor straight up 2 millimeters. All right, so that's updated to 965 automatically. All right, so even though my dimensions are in paper space, if I move something in model space, it will update. Okay, so that's all I need to do. And I think that looks a little neater dimension-wise, and nobody will notice the 2 millimeters. All right, so, but everyone will notice the dimension. This is 963, Here's the same, for example, this is 1713. I mean, I'm more comfortable with 1715, right? So I'm going to go here and modify these 2 here, like that, move. Just a bit of fine tuning. I'm saying basically that's what it is. 2 millimeters makes that dimension nicer. All right, so that's that. Just look around. I think I might have missed anything. I don't know. Have I missed anything else? Oh, yeah, that's correct. That's all right. That's a nice number. So yeah, if you give you a moment to go through and tidy those up, and I'll have another check over here, make sure it all looks similar to that. See, there's another dimension here. Oh no, that's the same one. Sorry, apologies. I've done that one. Yeah, so I've done mine a little different. So I leave mine on the board to look at. It's a fine example. Anyway, that's what I've done anyway. Yeah, and I've put this 455 or whatever it is inside the room rather than out there. It doesn't matter. You put it wherever. I thought it was a little lost out there. All right, so let's go back here and talk about this note that I've got here. So, of course, you can put a note. It's just a little tight here. So, yeah, I think I better, before we do that, we better just turn on the appliances as well in the viewport. I know we turned on the joinery, but I'll just have a look at the plumbing and appliances for a minute. Turn them on because it makes more sense, especially like here. Where's that light? See, look at that. Is that light meant to be there? No, see, I've put the light in the wrong spot, I think, in my case. I think that's a basin there, isn't it? What is that? That's oh, sorry, I'm in the laundry. What an idiot. Okay, so here, no, that's correct. That's fine. That should be all right. Anyway, all right, where were we? So putting this note on. So what I did in the end, it wasn't behaving. Also, what I did with this note, if I just come out here, well, it saved me typing it up. I might just copy this and I might just try and replicate what's there just to show you. Okay, so I'll just delete it and I'll do it again. See if I can get it to work. Delete that as well. So immediately I started off going like this and I said, okay, we're going to go annotate and then we're going to go multi-leader and just put one of these here like this and just, I'm in the wrong layer, but I'll fix it. And then I just drag this across. Just dragged it across like that. All right, so there it is. It's in the wrong layer, but that's all right. We'll just fix it up. Should be under text. There we go. Now this dimension is weird, isn't it? This arrowhead, it didn't even work. So you have to move it down a bit this way to get the arrow to happen. So that's all over this light to start with. So I thought, oh, well, maybe, surely I can just do this maybe. That might work. That sort of worked. I'll bring it up a bit more, but doing that, it just stuffs up this. Stuffs it up. If I bring that down, that goes down again. So I said, oh, forget it. We're just going to go here and just going to go remove the leader. Click that and then click the leader and enter. Gone. So basically I'm left with them text. So then I said, okay, I'll put a separate leader. I'll put it over here like that and just escape. I'll put that in the right layer again. Okay. Now I'm going to drag that down until I get an arrowhead. And then I think what I did is somehow brought that across there like that. It just came across and it did that. So I got that so far so good. Now I'm just going to move this back to up here. I mean, it's just one workaround in here. Now I can just bring that up a bit more maybe. Yeah, your multi-leader's forcing itself straight. Yeah. Oh, right. Well, yes. There are settings for multi-leaders. Have we been through those settings? I don't think we have we? It's just a matter of playing around with it. I have gone through them through my Thursday class, so I can show you. All right, so that's I'll go through that in a minute. So I got this. Then I thought, look, I don't really like all those wires going through underneath my note. So I just went double click on here, and I went right click, and I went background mask. This is optional. That's okay. I mean, it should be okay, but I seem to see through it. Yeah, you just click use background mask, because that's all you have to do. But so then I went okay, and somehow it worked. It shouldn't be working all along. But anyway, just by going in there, it started working. Now I masked half of my light out, so more problems for me. See if I can bring it back. I can't. Control Z. So I went in it. I dragged that back a bit more. Still a problem there. So I just nudging this control key and arrow now, nudging it a bit just to clear the light, and I sort of squeeze it in there like that. That's, I mean, apart from changing your text height, that's all I did. All right, so it's up to you whether you want to mask it. It's just a technique. I mean, you can probably want to see your wires back here as well. So it's 6 one way, half a dozen the other. All right, so as far as the multimeter goes, we've got the general multimeter here. We click on the down arrow settings here, or the not down arrow, it's sort of the diagonal settings in the corner there. And then we click modify. And then we have a look. The leader format is straight. So you can have a spline one or straight or none. Size of the arrow is 3 millimeters, yes. And then we have leader structure. Maximum leader points, 2. I actually prefer 3 myself. When I usually work, I prefer 3. And I'll show you what happens when we go 3. Landing distance, 6. Landing distance, where are we? Content, text height, landing gap is 2, yes. Landing distance, I think what I will do here is landing distance, I'm going to go no landing distance. Oh, sorry, include landing. I'll just leave it there and I'll just get rid of this one. Automatic include landing, no. All right, so it doesn't do that extra little straight line. Okay, so this is what I would do. I find this a little easier myself. I do, but look what happened though. It changed these other ones, so be careful of what because it changed that one. These ones here haven't changed, so it means hopefully the rest of the sheet is okay. Anywhere here, which is fine. All right, so let's have a look. So, okay, having done that now, I'll show you a bit later if I keep that setting how it all works. Maybe I'll show you now here on this one. If I go now, if I go and put a note here, so we're going to just say okay here. Oh, sorry, let's take off the object snap so it doesn't snap to the end. So I'll just put a note there saying okay, this one here. I'll just go over a bit, and so it does ask me to do a second point now. All right, now I'm going to keep that straight in this instance there, and I'm going to say oops, eaves overhang. Okay, so I'll do that. Watch what happens. Well, also I'll drag this over like that. So watch what happens when I click outside this. The 2 millimeter gap appears in there. All right. Now this makes it easy to do also straight and also on angle arrows. So if I go next, I might say, okay, well I'm going to put a note. Don't worry about this one here being there, but a note over here goes like this, perhaps, and then I'll come across, and now I can line up by eye where the other line should finish there. And I'm going to write, oops, brick wall. So I'm going to go okay. I'm going to drag this over as well, like usual, and go okay. And now, because these lines line up, also does my text. And this is another reason again where I have full-blown crosshair, so I can line things up with eye by eye easier, where you don't need to have the accuracy. But something like this, if I can't see that it's not in line at that level, then there's no way anyone else is going to see it when they print it off and looking at it on site. You know, that discrepancy of 0.001 millimeter. All right. Okay, so I prefer that setting for my arrows, for my multi-leaders. All right. So, and you can all still, obviously, I can still add a multi-leader. I can add one over here, and that's a brick wall as well. But look what happens to that. Not sure why that happened like that, but that's what it does. All right. So anyway, I just added those to show you. Would it be any easier or better for this one here? Who knows? Let's check. I'll delete that. I'll just put in just a multi-leader. Now I can go like this. That comes up, and then the next one I can actually bring it exactly where I want, escape, and that was much easier to control that multi-leader and get it right there very quickly. You know, so I prefer that, and I'm not big on multi-leaders, but I don't use them often. But I usually use the quick leader command, but that's not one we learned today. Okay, so and I can just still arrange it a bit better. So I think that's a better outcome. All right, so just change that to text, and I'll keep that one. How about that? We're learning. Okay, so I'm still working on basically last week's things here, so that's all fixed now. I'm going to save this as my last week final, and I'm going to save as now and begin this week's, which is going to be this week's date, which is 29th. All right, so into that. We do have one more thing that is a bit of an extra for you, and for example here now, I did add those notes. For example, say the sheet has been already issued last week. This week we'll come along and add 2 more notes. All right. So you want to highlight your amendment to someone. So you can type in RevCloud. I'm not sure where it is on. Could be under Express Tools on here, but RevCloud. It could be nowhere. So type in RevCloud, and when you first start using it, you need to set the arc length. How much the arc should be. So we'll just click arc length, and in my case, and I haven't got the object snaps on at this point, I'm just going to click and say it's about from where I click to about where I finish clicking, about that much, right? And then I'm going to say, and then it says to specify the maximum arc length. So I'm going to keep it the same. You can do a maximum and a minimum. I'm just keeping it both the same. So I'm just going to enter that. It's about 9 millimeters. And then I'm going to click freehand. I find that the easiest, but there's other options: rectangular, polygonal, and object. So you could draw a rectangle over something and then convert that rectangle into arcs, all right, like cloud. And then I go, okay, I'm going to go freehand, and I'm just going to go click once only, lift off my finger, and just as I go along, it actually creates a cloud for me, and I'll come around and just there it finds it. And it stops. The command's finished all by itself. I didn't do anything else, just one click. So there's my revision cloud. How cute is that? And also, someone else said the other night at in my class, he's a landscaper. He says, "Oh, I could use that to create my little bushes in the garden bed. You know, indicate Melaleuca goes here or whatever it might be. You know." So yeah, you could. All it is really, it's just a polyline. If I click on it, it's just a polyline we've just made out of arcs. There you go, polyline. All right. And you could do that as well with a polyline command. The arc mode, by default it's in the line mode, but you can switch between the two. All right, easy. How about that? Okay, so that's not part of. No, that's just the layer I was in. Probably you put it in some text or something or whatever. Personally, if I was PDFing this out and giving it to someone, I'll make sure that arrow was cloud is actually in red or some other color, maybe sort of purple or whatever. Therefore, I will probably create a layer called Rev Clouds and give it one of those colors that comes from this list here. Find it to show you. I'll create a new layer and make it come pick the color from the true color palette here, how we did with the gray for the walls, and that will remain, because if I pick up a red from here, that will print out red even if I'm using the monochrome. That way they'll see the color and stand out. But yeah, your choice. Yeah, of course even if they printed it out, it will come out in red. And everyone's got color printers nowadays. Yeah, so all good. All right. So I'm going to just get rid of these couple of things I added on that are extras. It was just demonstration only. So there you go. All right. So now we can. Any questions? Look, I'll give you a moment to try the Rev Cloud because it is a little hard to get your head around it and get the settings. So give it a go, and then we'll jump on. All right. So just to finish off with that Rev Cloud, actually. Thank you to my good student who found this. It is here under the draw panel, of course, because we are drawing something. It's not in the Express tools. So there's a rectangular, there's a polygonal, and there's a freehand one. Cute, right? You can what? Delete it. Yeah. Well, you can delete it. Yeah, I already deleted mine, but just to show you where they are on the panel there, and yeah, that's.
So do we have to include it into our drawing, or are you just showing us how?
I was just showing you, yeah, but I'm sure I'm going to get all these clouds in future drawings for just to show me that you've done it, which is fine as well. I must say that. Hey, what?
Let's do a sad face with a cloud.
A face with a cloud. Yeah. Well done. All right. So okay. So the thing is, I have had a disappointing amount of students not hand up all the files, like whether there's a glitch with the upload or whatever. But instead of 3 files, I ended up getting maybe 2 or maybe 1 or maybe none. And hopefully we'll get it right next time. I did put some extra instructions on the Learn site about what needs to be submitted. But it's interesting, the question I was asked whether we should have revision clouds next time on our drawings. Probably this is what's going to stick from this lecture, the revision cloud. Everyone's going to give me those, but probably won't give me the right amount of files. Okay. All right, which is more important to get the files than the revision cloud. Anyhow, all good. We have faith we'll get there in the end. All right, so let's done that. So I'm going to stop this recording here, so I can begin a new one with the concrete framing or concrete slab. Okay.